Today, I'd like to talk about Chipotle, your friends and mine, and the fact that they're just going to straight out raise their prices and exactly why they're doing this, why they're saying it out loud, and what the kind of repercussions are, and how they're fucking us over. So that's going to be today's video. Let me push to this. This is the AP headline. Let's go ahead and read through this step by step. Chipotle is raising its U.S. prices to offset inflation and to compensate for a promise to increase portion sizes. Let's just stop right there. That sentence, is basically this. That's what Chipotle is saying they're doing. They're raising their prices to offset inflation and to compensate for a promise to increase portion sizes. The funny part about that is the reason portion sizes are increased is because they were decreased before compared to what they used to be. They shrink their basically, like, they shrunk their portions. They finally got called out on social media, and they said, "Oh, I mean, it's going to get into it here." And they said, "Oh, we're going to fix it." And then immediately after, they go for a 2% price increase after seizing on the opportunity for people to kind of post about their new, bigger Chipotle bowls. It's such a straight up blatant thing that it's amazing people aren't more mad about it. I guess it's just people don't really care or know about it because, it's Chipotle. But it is amazing to me that they got caught out on social media. Everybody knows that Chipotle was skimping on their portions. It's obvious. They finally get called out. There's a little bit of investigation, a little bit of pushback, and their response is, "Oh, we'll fix it. We're going to retrain some employees and teach them the proper way because it's supposed to be better. It's just a training issue and not a company mandate." Which maybe, but I'm going to lean on the side that it's more of a unstated company mandate. Like, hey, our food costs are getting too high. You're putting out too much portions, kind of thing. That's just how it goes. Everybody understands this on a fundamental level. The Chipotle didn't come out and say, "Hey, cut all the bowls down by 10%." No, what they did was they let it know from the top down, and it went down, down, down to the regional managers, to the store managers, that their food costs were too high and they need to lower it. And the only way to do that is to skimp on portions. That's it. There is no other way to get around it. You either skimp on portions or raise prices or both. And they chose to skimp on portions, but not state so, which is, the typical Chipotle kind of big business thing. But let's go on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's read a little bit more. Chipotle's chief corporate affairs officer, Lori Schlau, confirmed Friday that the Mexican restaurant was implementing a 2% price increase nationally. Schlau said it's the first time the California-based company has raised its prices in more than a year. I got information about all these things. We're going to fact check these things. Chipotle revealed the price increase after an analyst report released earlier this week by investment bank Truist Securities noted a 2% price increase at approximately 20% of the chain's 3,500 stores. Truist, which raised its price target for Chipotle's shares, also reported that consumer traffic at the chain's restaurants accelerated in November. Chipotle said in October that its food, beverage, and packaging costs all increased in the third quarter. It cited avocados as an example. I've got sources on all these, but I want to read it over first. Avocado shipments from Mexico to the U.S. were briefly suspended in June after 2 U.S. Department of Agriculture's employees were insulted. I remember that. That was interesting news. Chipotle also cited the cost of ensuring it was providing consistent and generous portions to its customers. This is insane to me that they are citing their price increase as one of the reasons that they're giving consistent portions now. I mean, doesn't that imply that they knew they were giving inconsistent portions before and that they're raising the price now because they are, in fact, giving more and there was, in fact, a kind of a culture to give less? I mean, that seems like what is being admitted right here. But former chairman and CEO Brian Nichols said in July that Chipotle was retraining workers at approximately 10% of Chipotle stores after customers complained on social media that they were getting smaller portions. That's also funny because what is retraining 10% of employees going to do? That doesn't make any sense. I guess they're saying they're targeting certain stores, but it was a pretty universal thing. The skimpy Chipotle bowls, I think, are pretty universal across the nation. Nickell left Chipotle in September to become the chairman and CEO of Starbucks, which has said it won't raise prices through September 2025. Great, thanks Starbucks. They're not going to raise prices for 9 months, which means they are in fact going to immediately raise prices in September or maybe October. Maybe they'll give it a little bit. But yeah, they're basically saying, no, we will raise prices regardless of what the situation is in September 2025. But we'll give you a little grace period to pay the already overly inflated prices. So thanks, Starbucks. Restaurant price inflation has aggravated U.S. consumers. Thank you. The price of food eaten away from home rose 30% between October 2019 and October 2024, according to government figures. Now, obviously, that's because of COVID. I'm very curious to see how much of that is concentrated in like 2020, specifically in 2021, maybe, in terms of the percentage of utilization, because I know I ate a lot more fast food in 2020 and 2021 because I was ordering a lot of Uber and all that kind of stuff. But the price of food eaten at home has also risen 27% in the same period, which is why groceries are insane. Earlier this year, McDonald's said it was seeing more customers eat at home instead of getting fast food because of price increases, the most obvious thing on earth. The company responded with a $5 deal and other discounts, which is shit, after I've already gone over. So let's read USA Today's take on this piece and see what information they're going to add or subtract based on that AP News article. And it's important to note that a lot of these news companies basically get their sources from the AP. So there's going to be a lot of similar talking points in here. So let's see what's going on. If your Chipotle order seems like it's gotten slightly more expensive, it's not your imagination. The fast casual Mexican chain has raised its menu prices by 2% as it deals with the impact of inflation. Oh, I want to say so many bad things there. For the first time in over a year, we have taken a modest price increase of approximately 2% to nationally offset inflation. Chipotle said in its third quarter earnings call in October that food, beverage, and packaging costs in the third quarter of 2024 were 30.6% of total revenue, an increase from 29.7% of total revenue, which is, that doesn't add up to 2%. That adds up to like 0.9%, but let's go on. The company said the increase was due to inflation across several ingredient costs, primarily avocados and dairy, higher usage of ingredients as the company focused on ensuring quality, consistent and generous portions, and a protein mix shift from the success of its smoked brisket limited time offer. So they're saying the price increase was due to inflation across several things, including their limited smoked brisket, which is not a normal item they normally have. So that's nice. The move comes after Chipotle. This is the important part. The move comes after Chipotle missed market expectations for same-store sales growth in an earnings call released in October, Reuters added. The company is also in the first few months after former CEO Brian Niccol left for Starbucks. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, wholesale poultry prices were 4.5% lower in October compared to last year, and those prices are predicted to decrease 0.6% next year. Prices for beef, however, were 1.9% higher in October 2024, and prices are expected to increase further. So that's a nice, interesting little touch, because they're talking about how their avocados cost more, but they never mentioned that the chicken was a lot cheaper. I didn't see that in the kind of inflation report. Like, I think, maybe there's a little bit of an offset there. I don't know. Let's go ahead and read the Reuters report that was linked before. Chipotle Mexican Grill on Tuesday missed market expectations for the third quarter same-store sales growth as higher menu prices hurt demand, while steeper cost of ingredients such as avocado and dairy weighed on margins. Shares of the company were down about 4% in extended trading, but the important part is they had a plan. Restaurant chains in the United States have struggled with muted demand. Still, stable demand for Chipotle's offerings have helped stave off some pressure being felt by fast food chains such as McDonald's. A company insider, Scott Boatwright, was named as interim CEO in August, credited for driving a revival in sales profit at the burrito chain, resigned to take over CEO of Starbucks. Niccol's exit was not unexpected. Executives reaffirmed their full-year guidance, but there could be some cracks of doubt as the new CEO managing this cycle, starting with mixed results versus expectations, said Brian Mulberry, client portfolio manager at Zacks Investment Management. So all the terrible people are here. Chipotle's comparable sales rose 6% in the third quarter, compared with analysts' estimate of 6.3%. So that's what we're talking about. Their sales were supposed to go up 6.3%, and they went up 6%, and that is the failure, the miss, the failing of Chipotle that caused them to go down by 4% in after-hours trading is that. And then what happened after that? This is the important part, okay? Chipotle announces third quarter 2024 results. I want to go over this specifically to see why they need to raise prices. Because comparable sales increase 6%, driven by over 3% transaction growth, which means they're raising the price after already making record profits. Again, very specific. Total revenue increased 13%. Comparable restaurant sales increased 6%. Operating margin was 16.9%, so a slight increase. Restaurant level operating margin was a decrease. Diluted earnings per share was increased. Average diluted earnings per share increased. And they opened 86 new company-operated restaurants with 73 locations, including a Chipotle lane and one international licensed restaurant. That should tell you all you need to know right here. They released this third quarter sales report, which says they're doing better than ever by a lot. And then immediately afterwards, they put out a press release that said they're raising prices 2% to keep up with inflation. That, it's very simple. The math doesn't math. They actually are operating on less of a margin than they were last year, and their total revenue and profits have massively increased, and they're also increasing the price at the same time. That's the main point I want to get away with here. These companies presented as Chipotle is raising the prices to compete with inflation, things like that. That's what the CEO wants to say. Hey, we have to do this, 2% inflation, blah, blah, blah. It's not true. It's total utter bullshit because they've already raised the price many times. Here's a nice Reddit report from a guy who did a lot of work for me. But here's cost price increases over the years for just guacamole. For 2016, guacamole was $1.80. The average selling price of one Hass avocado was $1.04. Labor cost, 28.3%. Food cost is total revenue, 35%. I'm not going to read all these, but here's the important part. 2017 went up to $1.95. The price of an avocado also went up, pretty similarly, so that's fair. 2020, price goes up 30 cents. Price of an avocado is back down. So here's the first increase. Here's the first COVID-induced greed increase that was solely done because they knew they could get away with it because of COVID. It started right here. They raised the price while the cost of an avocado was actually less. Then they raised the price again, 20 cents. The price of an avocado did go up a little bit, then went up a lot, but not enough to compensate for that. Now we have 2023, 2024, guac is $2.65. The average price of an avocado is $1.06 in 2023 and $1.18 in 2024. So it's very simple. If you look at the numbers, it's funny. Using avocado prices as a reason to raise menu prices shows they've abandoned the promise to not raise prices based on short-term fluctuations, which I don't even think is the reason. This guy's going off that they're abandoning their promise or whatever to not raise prices based on short-term fluctuations. I don't think that promise matters to them at all. I don't think it's even impactful. I don't think the actual price of the avocados changing was anything more than an excuse to raise the price even more, as you can clearly tell. This 2021 is the easy way to tell. This is the easiest way to tell that it was just a greed-based cost increase. Maybe here you can argue that it's a little justifiable, but it's not after it was already increased 30 cents when the cost of an avocado was decreased. You know what I'm saying? When you look back at the actual cost of what avocados cost versus what guacamole costs at Chipotle, you will see that the increase has been increasing. The cost of an avocado has not gone up that much in 10 years, but the cost of Chipotle fucking guacamole has gone up extensively. So that's the point. Here we go. In 2021, Mr. Nickel received a bonus of $4 million on top of his $1.25 million. In 2022, he got a nice $2 million bonus. In 2023, he got $5.2 million on top of his. So yeah, that's where the money's going. This 2% price increase that you're paying for your chicken bowl It's not going to support the company. They don't need, it's not like they're going out of business. It's not like they need to raise prices. They're actually making record profits, and they're just increasing the price specifically so that they can make more money than they did last quarter, so that they can show growth, so that they can make money for the shareholders. That's it. It's very simple. All they're in it for is to make money for the shareholders. Every time they say that there's a promise, that they care about the consumers and all that stuff, it's bullshit. The number one goal is to raise the price of the stock. And the way they got away with doing that is by raising the prices. So they announced their 2% price increase specifically to get stock companies, like stock brokerage companies, to value Chipotle a little bit higher so it wouldn't hurt as much in their stock portfolio. Them raising their prices 2% got, basically got, how do I put this? Them raising their price 2% essentially is a signal to investors that they're going to try to make even more money, that they're willing to raise their prices, and they think that they're going to maintain their current customer base and maintain their growth. And investors are looking at that and saying, oh, okay, well, let's invest in Chipotle because they're willing to raise their prices in spite of the fact that they don't need to, because they're confident they can keep their customers even with more prices. Is that true? I hope not. I really hope not. I hope Chipotle goes out of business, honestly. And that would be the greatest thing to ever happen, would be that Chipotle completely fails, but it won't happen. Like every other, store, company that started out good, started out, being an actual place you'd want to go to, started out, being a kind of local place, being kind of a nice place, and then it picked up, and now we've passed the point where they were good, and we're in the decline phase, and we're steeping. We're in the steep decline phase now. The decline of 2020, like COVID, just accelerated it all, accelerated the downfall, and it let these companies just push their kind of bullshit like further because everybody was locked up. Anyways, last but not least, I want to touch on, just in case there's any Chipotle apologists left, don't forget that they're also investing a ton of money into automating Chipotle, so they don't have to even pay workers to make your fucking chicken burrito bowl, so they can, ultimately make even more money and suck even more fucking dollars out of your pocket for some shitty ass Mexican food, because it's not good. It was in 2010, like when Chipotle was a hot thing. It was a hot thing for a reason. It was good. But like everything else, it's shit now. It's a corporate franchise that's just lost all sense of identity and taste and anything. So yeah, it's just a piece of shit. But pieces of shit like this never go away. I mean, we still have fucking Subway. Subway is everywhere, despite the fact that nobody fucking likes Subway, and like the only reason people went there was for cheap subs, and they seemingly can't get that right, and they're trying to do all these deals and stuff, but nobody fucking likes Subway. They're still around. I go into a Subway, there's one worker in there who's not paying attention, and literally no customers. It still takes me 20 minutes to get a fucking sub. And then, it still exists. I don't even understand how the Subways around me are even in business. But I guess they're getting away with it. I guess their margins are good enough on a shitty ass Subway sub that they manage to sell full price to like some idiot who comes in off the street, keeps their business going, because the only person who's buying Subway in my mind is somebody who's on their last resort, basically. Like, okay, Subway's all I can get right now, or something like that, because otherwise, why would you ever shop or buy food at Subway? It's just not a good brand anymore. It's been fucking destroyed by the corporation that runs it. So, yeah. Let's go into this article real quick about Chipotle automation. Both locations are in California, where all fast food chains must pay $20 an hour with possible increases. Chipotle said in a statement that it is testing technology to find efficiencies and help our restaurant employees continue providing great hospitality for our guests. Keyword there is to help give less hours to our employees and have less people involved so that we cannot pay them. That's the key part. Many restaurant chains in recent years have rolled out this technology. Other California-based chains, Sweetgreen and Jack in the Box, invested in private startups, pitching a vision of burgers, fries, and salad bowls made in large part by robots. However, Generally, fast food workers juggle other tasks like greeting customers, sweeping the floor, blah, 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 which most robots can't do, sure. Chipotle, which had a revenue of nearly $9.9 billion last year, has not connected automation to the state's wage hike. It has said employees who work with the automated bowl and salad maker will continue to make burritos, tacos, add side items, and monitor the machine's quality. The automatic bowl and salad maker, which Chipotle calls its augmented make line, automatically dispenses rice, corn, lettuce, and other ingredients into a bowl beneath the counter. Chipotle said 65% of all digital orders are bowls and salads. This technology could be a game changer, propelling Chipotle well ahead of its competition on automation. Chipotle said it invested in the technologies through an $100 million venture fund, in which it added $50 million in February. The fund has a stake in Hyphen, a San Jose-based startup in 2020 behind Chipotle's automatic bowl and salad maker, which is up and running in its Corona Del Mar store. Sweetgreen has already rolled out a similar automatic bowl making machine, opening what it calls infinity kitchens in a few locations, including California. Chipotle's avocado technology, which cuts cores and peels avocado before an employee mashes them into guacamole, is in place in its Huntington Beach location, it said. Made by Vibu, a Los Angeles-based startup in 2022, the machine processes an avocado in 26 seconds. Chipotle says it goes through more than 5 million cases of avocados a year. Previously, Chipotle used Chippy, an automatic system that makes seasoned tortilla chips, but the company said cleanup and setup costs offset much of its labor savings. So they said, well, it's not good enough to replace our employees, so fuck it. Fast food chains currently employ more workers in California than any other state. After the new minimum wage of $20 went into effect, Chipotle raised prices 7% in the states, executives said in investor calls this year. For 2025, the California Fast Food Worker Union is seeking to raise the $20 minimum wage to $20.70 to account for inflation. On Wednesday, a meeting of fast food workers councils heard public comments from many franchisees urging the council to forego further increases. So that's funny. They want to raise the minimum wage 70 cents. That's 70 fucking cents to count for inflation. And Chipotle themselves not only raised their price 2% just now, but also 7% before in response to their supposed, minimum wage increase. But look what happened. They're still making record profits. How did that happen? They're paying their workers in California $20 an hour, and they're not out of business. They're in fact doing better than ever. Who would have guessed that it didn't really matter in the end? What they're trying to do is take this $20 an hour problem and replace it with technology, and they're going to get away with it. There's no doubt. Like, this automatic bowl maker is the saddest thing I've ever heard of in my life. Like, I can't even imagine if I went to Chipotle, walked up there and watched my fucking food bowl get made by a machine and then spit out to me, and I had to give them fucking $12 for a chicken bowl. I'm done. That's the end of fucking Chipotle. That's the end of civilization. I swear, it's insane to me that this is the way we want to go. We want to just automate all of this shit. Automating the avocados, I think, is great. That's a good move because processing avocados fucking sucks. That actually does save your workers time. But when you automate the entire role of your worker, making the food, then you're just replacing them. That's different. So the bowl maker, which is going to replace your Chipotle workers probably in the next coming years, it's coming, and it sucks. And fuck Chipotle. Because this bowl maker is going to short serve you every time. The only good benefit of even going into Chipotle is that you can kind of side eye the guy to give you more fucking stuff. You can kind of be like, hey, give me a little bit more. What the hell? That's literally the only reason to go to Chipotle, is to interact with a human so that you get the portions you want. Because if you order digitally, it's always fucking skimped out. And these machines are obviously going to skimp on it anyway. So yeah, here we go. And it's going to be interesting. I would love to get in on the numbers. I would love an insider to say exactly how many ounces of rice, beans, and chicken and lettuce or whatever comes out of the automatic machine. I want to know what Chipotle's standard is for a chicken bowl. What is the standard amount of rice, corn, lettuce, and other ingredients that it puts into the bowl by the machine? Like, is it 2 ounces of rice, 4 ounces of rice, 6 ounces of rice? What are we doing? Now, what is the ratio of rice to meat to other things? How does the machine change it depending on what ingredients you order? it's all fucked. It's going to be screwed either way you do it. You're not going to get the bowl you want because there's not a person making it who you can tell how to make it the way you want it, and it sucks. So fuck Chipotle. Thanks for watching. See you all next time.